endangered species list, but also that exact same year they became a state reptile. We've got 26 total species, and they all have different colorations and adaptations depending on where they live.
Hello everyone and good afternoon. How's everyone doing today? Well, welcome to Rescue Tales. My name is Jackie and I'm one of over 350 animal care specialists right here at SeaWorld Orlando. And man, do we have the best job? Where do you get to wake up every day and work with some amazing animals and build relationships with them? Today I'm going to highlight these relationships that our trainers have formed with these animals, because every animal, whether big or small, plays a vital role in its ecosystem. What we learn about them not only helps us enhance their lives in our care, but it also helps their wild counterparts as well. Today, as we go through our presentation, we're going to be asking you guys questions. Feel free to shout out the answer, or if you're not quite sure, we welcome all guesses. We want to make sure that everyone's out here having fun. Now let me go ahead and shine a spotlight on some of our animal friends and introduce you to Boris. Boris here is a 17-year-old Asian small-clawed otter. They are indigenous to freshwater lakes, rivers, and streams in Asia. They also get their name because on their webbed paws, they have tiny little claws that look like nails, hence Asian small-clawed. Now, Boris here is scenting on this towel and drying off. These guys are a part of the musselid family. That means they're related to skunks and weasels. If you guys know anything about them, they are a little smelly. Boris is as well, but they are using that scent gland like he is right now. It's at the base of his tail, and he is letting every otter that comes after him know that towel is now his. So that is something unique to them, and it is similar to that of a fingerprint. Now, as I mentioned, they are in the musselhead family, but they are the only amphibious member, which means that they do enjoy water. So he just came from his pool and he's drying off. And the reason they are drying off is because they have a lot of hair on their body, so it takes them quite a while. The reason they have so much hair is so that it can keep them warm, as well as it's almost like a waterproof coat. They have 450,000 hairs per square inch. So it's a lot of hair. To give you an idea, humans only have about 300 to 3,300 per square inch. Now, Boris and his friends, they do typically mate for life, and they keep their kids with them. Does anyone know what they call their kids? Pups, I think I heard it. Yeah, pups or kids. And those pups actually cannot swim when they are first born. Mom and dad do have to teach them, because the first month of their lives, they actually have their eyes closed. And then after about a month, their eyes open, and then about 3 months of age, they'll start learning how to swim. Mom and dad teach them that they could actually close their nostrils and their ears so they don't get any water in those areas. Definitely something I wish I could do for sure. Now, as he's hanging out up here, I also want to talk about a little bit where he came from. Now, otters in general, like I said, there are 13 species. He is the smallest of those, but indigenous to Asia, when they are there, they are actually dealing with some threats, and the biggest one is deforestation. So unfortunately, they are losing a lot of land, and some of the issues are also sustainable sources. So if you're in a local grocery store or anything like that, and you look at a label and it says it has sustainable or palm oil, that is something that's good for Boris and his friends. We want to make sure that they have their habitat for many, many years to come. And they are also an indicator species. So what that means is that Boris and seeing otters in general is a good thing. We want to be able to have them out there, because if they leave those environments, that tells us the overall health of the environment is actually declining, and that's what researchers are looking for, to know that they need to focus on a certain area. So seeing otters out there is a good thing, whether that's in your own backyard in local river otter species or in Asia in the rainforest that these guys are from. But we wanted to say, like I said, appreciate them for many, many more years to come. So we will try to do our part to help that out. Now I think Boris almost got every last hair that he has left dry. Yeah. So let's go ahead and give him a big round of applause. I think he did a great job.
Yeah, I made that question easy. I've got one here in my hand. But this is my child, and then they can live up to 80 years under human care, which is pretty long. They can grow up to about 13 feet in length and weigh between 400 and 600 pounds. So when that happens, we're going to need a lot more hands and a lot more trainers out here on stage. We won't be able to do this anymore. But she has some really cool features that I want to go ahead and highlight. Starting out with her jaws here. Now she's got her mouth closed, but she does have quite a lot of teeth in there. Anyone want to guess how many teeth she has? 80! Oh my gosh, you got it. Yeah, right on the money. 80 teeth, which is quite a lot. And they will actually constantly lose and regrow their teeth throughout their entire lifetime, just like sharks. So they will go through 2,000 to 3,000 teeth in their entire lifetime. Yeah, a lot of dentist visits for sure. Now it might look like she's got some sort of armor on here. These little bony plates right here, they've got a really fancy word. They're called osteoderms, but they do kind of serve like armor and help protect her from predators out in the wild. And then of course she has got a super awesome and powerful tail. When they are fully grown, they can switch their tails back and forth in the sediment to form something called a gator hole. Now when that gator hole is abandoned, it can fill with water, and other animals in the environment can use them, but what they're most known for is their nests. One super cool thing about their nests is the temperature of the soil actually determines the gender of the babies. So if it's about 86 degrees Fahrenheit or below on average, most of the babies hatched will be female. Then if it's about 93 degrees Fahrenheit or above on average, most of them will be male. And if the temperature falls somewhere in that range, you'll have a mixed bunch. It's kind of like sea turtles, which I think is really cool. Something else really cool about alligators is they're actually one of the only reptiles that will care for their young after they hatch. So for up to 2 years after these guys hatch, their moms will protect them, help care for them, help feed them, things like that. Everglade here, she's pretty small, so she would have a difficult time defending herself out in the wild. Now alligators haven't always been this prevalent. Back in 1967, American alligators were actually endangered due to habitat loss and hunting. Through about 20 years of conservation efforts, in 1987, we were not only able to remove them from the endangered species list, but also that exact same year they became the state reptile for the state of Florida, which I think is pretty cool. I'm sure I have some Floridians out here in the audience with us, so I'm sure y'all were taught how to coexist with alligators in the wild. But pretty much what that means is just respecting them, giving them their space, not approaching them, and certainly not feeding them, as cute as they are. But I think Everglade did a fantastic job helping me teach you guys a little bit about alligators. What do you guys think? Yeah. And before I invite another Florida native species, I'm going to have you guys help me with this one. See you later. Alligator. Perfect. Thank you guys.
After a week, everyone, any guesses? Snake. Yeah, we gave it away. Good choice. Alrighty, everyone. Now this is Cassandra. Cassandra is a Florida king snake, and she is just one of 45 different subspecies of king snake. There's actually about 26 total species, and they all have different colorations and adaptations depending on where they live. So you can tell with her coloration, she's a little bit more neutrally toned. Lots of tans, lots of browns, and this is what will help her blend in with the forest floor. The Florida king snake can be seen all throughout the southeastern United States in swamps, marshes, as well as hardwood forests, so pretty common species out here. Has anybody heard of mimicry before? No? Some yeses, I'll take it. So mimicry, for my friends who don't know, is actually the act of recreating another animal's natural behaviors, and Cassandra can do that. Now, she can actually wiggle the back of her tail, and that'll intimidate and threaten other animals, making them think that she is a rattlesnake. This is actually pretty cool because Cassandra here can actually take care of other snakes, so she'll eat other snakes. That's where they get their name, king snake, due to them having a special protein in their bodies that actually help them digest that venom. So she can actually eat rattlesnakes as well as cottonmouths and water moccasins. Of course, they'll also take care of any excess rodents such as mice as well as rats. So pretty common to see them out there munching on some of those animals. But if you ever see a snake out there in the wild, I like to talk about the 3 S's, which are stop, stare, and step away. So if you see a snake out in the wild, stop where you are. Make sure you have an ample amount of distance in between you and that snake. Stare, look at the observation. See if it's doing anything really cool like eating, on the move, or any indication on what type of snake it might be. After a bit of time, step away. That way you're able to enjoy the rest of your day, and these animals are also able to enjoy the rest of their day, and you just had a fantastic experience witnessing the natural ecosystem and all the animals that inhabit it. Now, Cassandra was given to us by a family when they realized they couldn't really give her the utmost care. Snakes do require an exotic species vet, so they can't go to your local dog or cat vets, and it can be pretty hard to find those vets depending on where you live, as well as they can be pretty pricey. So you want to make sure you do your research when it comes to owning an exotic species, such as snakes. She can get up to about 4 to 5 feet in length, so you want to make sure you're prepared for the requirements as well as how long they can live. You also want to make sure if you have any pets and realize you can't give them the utmost care, where to rehome those animals. You don't want to just release them back into the wild, as this can actually create invasive species. There are quite a few issues with snakes out in the Everglades, especially the pythons, and this is what actually creates those invasive species and it disrupts the natural ecosystem. So make sure you just do your proper research. That way you're able to set these animals up for success in the future, and you also just had a great experience having an exotic species. Now, I do think we've learned a lot about snakes, so let's give Cassandra a big round of applause. Coming on out with my friends is another Florida species that I think is pretty cool.
Thanks, Hannah. Are you guys enjoying meeting our animals so far? Yeah, good, okay. I'm super excited to introduce our next animal. He has defied the odds and become such a wonderful member of our family here. This is Panama. Panama is a 14-year-old eastern brown pelican. He was rescued right here in the state of Florida over in St. Petersburg back in 2010. A local sanctuary was keeping an eye on his nest, and when they realized his parents were not returning for him, they decided to intervene and rescue him. Now, when he was rescued, he was a lot smaller and pretty much had no feathers, but throughout his time with us, he has blossomed into such a beautiful bird and a really wonderful animal ambassador for his species. Now, eastern brown pelicans are found all over the coasts of North America and into parts of South America. He's doing a great job of showing off that really impressive wingspan. It's about 6.5 feet. That wingspan allows them to glide over the water at heights of 65 feet. From that height, they can dive down and catch fish with some really impressive accuracy. They have fantastic eyesight, so they can see the fish from that height. Now, another aspect they use for fishing is their throat pouch. Does anyone want to guess how much water that throat pouch can hold? You can just shout it out. It's okay. You don't have to raise your hand. 3,000 gallons is a little high. It's actually a lot lower than that. It's about 3 gallons of water. Which is several times their stomach capacity. Now, when they fill up that throat pouch with water, they don't drink any of the salt water, as it would make them sick, just like it would make us sick. They actually get all of their hydration from the fish that they eat, which is pretty cool. Now, unfortunately, these guys do face a few threats out in the wild, and the biggest one is actually entanglement. But pretty much what that means is they just get entangled with abandoned fishing line. So something that we can be doing is, whether we're at the beach for the day or out on a boat just enjoying the outdoors, is making sure we're picking up all of our garbage and abandoned fishing line and making sure it gets disposed of properly. More than 700 pelicans die each year just in the state of Florida due to entanglement with abandoned fishing line. So when we're outside enjoying the outdoors, we can be sure to do our part. He slowly makes his way off stage. But as we conclude our journey through Rescue Tales, we are reminded that every animal, no matter how big or small, deserves love, compassion, and a second chance. And we here at SeaWorld are so lucky to be able to provide that opportunity for nearly 60 years. We have rescued over 41,000 animals with the goal of rehabilitating them and returning them back into the wild.
That's right. Just this year here alone at SeaWorld Orlando, we've been able to release 26 manatees and 45 sea turtles. Let's give it up for our vet staff, guys. They've done a fantastic job.
That's right, and that job is never finished. Through the dedication of our rescue team and support from compassionate individuals much like yourselves, these stories of hope and healing continue to unfold each day. Until next time, remember, cherish every tale. Within each one lies a story worth saving. Thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your day here at